right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks for sticking around for the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. I'll be joined by Andrew Fillipponi in a matter of moments at the 93.7 The Fan Cam, and there he is. Give us a call tonight, 412-575-2600. All-Star Game. Yeah, I think it is the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, Pony, is probably the best. I'm not a big All-Star Game guy, but I do like the baseball one, and I think that's the only one. And I know we talked about this on Sunday, but it feels like to me, back when we were kids, maybe when I was a kid and you weren't born yet, but I felt like it was a bigger deal. Maybe that was because of TV, but I used to look forward to the All-Star Game. I want a real game out of it, but it still doesn't feel like a real game to me.
Well, it definitely feels more like a real game than the other ones. The Pro Bowl's a mockery of football. It's been reduced down to flag football, actually. And the NBA All-Star Game, there's zero defense played whatsoever. Not that we care about that here in Pittsburgh. And then the NHL is just 3-on-3 the whole time, and it's really a gimmick. It's not a real game. So Major League Baseball's All-Star Game is still a real game. The pitchers come in and out of the game, and guys get subbed out, but they still try to get guys out. The pitchers still throw as hard as they can, and the hitters still try to hit the ball as far as they can. So it's as close to a real game as you can get. But I ultimately do agree with you. Like, they're definitely, as you grow older, and maybe there's a younger generation of people that are watching this or listening to this, if you're younger, I think the All-Star Game is appreciated more, you care about it more. Maybe if you're at a point in your life where you're watching it with your kids and they're really into it, then you get really into it. But it is an exhibition. We shouldn't get that worked up about it. It does create some really cool moments, and it has for years, like when Dave Parker made those throws in '79 and won the MVP. But for the most part, the All-Star Game is just a fun celebration of baseball, and we shouldn't get too worked up that guys like Brandon Lau and Brian Reynolds didn't make the team, Richie.
Well, it's in Philly, across the state, so it's in Pennsylvania. And my next question is, I was wondering when the next time we will see an All-Star Game in Pittsburgh. Last time it was here, what was it, '06? There was one here in '94. I was at both of those games. But you would think that it would be coming here soon, but I would imagine because it's in Philadelphia, it might take a little bit of time. I mean, do you think the NFL draft was a success? Do you think we'll see something like that, maybe an All-Star Game within the next 10 years?
I do, absolutely. Unless teams build new ballparks and leapfrog and cut the line, which I guess could happen, I think Pittsburgh will get one again. I think really, when you think about it, 30 teams exist, so that means you should get one once every 30 years, and we're at 20. So I would think in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to get another All-Star Game. There are some cities that haven't had one in a while, maybe longer than Pittsburgh even. And so you want to give them the All-Star Game, unless it's a place that has a disaster of a ballpark or an old, disgusting ballpark, and we obviously don't have that with PNC Park. So I would think they'd want to put a second one there. It was great the last time it was here in 2006, but there's a whole generation of Pirates fans now that haven't gotten to see the All-Star Game in person. And I would think, Richie, in the next 5 years, we'd find out we'll find out that the All-Star Game is coming back here one more time.
Yeah, I guess winning would help that too for the Pirates' success. But do you think that would be maybe logically the next biggest event that the city of Pittsburgh could see?
Well, I don't have high hopes that we're going to get an AFC Championship game anytime soon with the Steelers.
The draft might come back, but that'll be, I would think, 10, 15 years, right?
Yeah, I always thought that maybe an All-Star game, an NHL All-Star game would happen at PPG Paints Arena. But it's been a while now since that building is opened, and what complicates that is when they have things like the Olympics and the Four Nations tournament and things like that. And like you mentioned, it's not as if the NHL All-Star Game is a really hot commodity. It really isn't. It's played between the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, and I feel like there's really never a lot of eyeballs on it. So I guess that could happen eventually. But yeah, I mean, to me, an All-Star Game coming back to PNC Park is a logical thing. and I think we will see it in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, we do see every 1 or 2 years, every other year, we'll see the NCAA tournament here, the first round of it at least. That'll be coming back because Duquesne usually hosts that. But yeah, I was just trying to figure out the next big thing, something like the draft. I mean, the draft I would imagine will be back here at some point. It was a huge success. But I would think the All-Star game, Major League Baseball All-Star game, would be the next thing that potentially.
And speaking of Duquesne, Richie, speaking of Duquesne, I know you don't like to say nice things about Duquesne.
No, I love Duquesne.
You're a Pitt man.
No, I love Duquesne. Pitt, they're
okay.
not. You know, I'm like, see, a Pitt guy. Duquesne, I root for Duquesne. You know, I don't like the West Virginias. That's as a Pitt guy.
And are you still anti-Penn State, or are you back in with Penn State after James Franklin invited you and put you in Penn State gear? And
Well,
all
yeah.
that?
Remember, I give the number one now. Yeah. So no, I like a lot of people up at Penn State. I love Terry Smith, great guy. So I kind of root for Penn State
Gateway
when they
man.
don't play Pitt. But no,
Right.
West Virginia is the one that you don't like as a Pitt guy.
So speaking of Duquesne, I was at a dinner tonight, and I saw the first family of basketball in Pittsburgh, the McConnells.
Yeah.
Megan McConnell, her dad Tim, the whole family. Susie was there as well. And I wanted to give them a little shout out because what that family has done with Tim's obviously coaching, what Susie's playing career in coaching, what Megan is doing in women's basketball, what obviously TJ has done in the NBA is just extraordinary. And it's amazing that that family right there has really carried the torch for Pittsburgh basketball for such a long time. And Malik Thomas right now in the Summer League. Now, we're not watching NBA Summer League in Pittsburgh, but there's a guy from Pittsburgh that's putting up gigantic numbers for the Cavs Summer League team. And he might get a chance, Richie, to play with LeBron James this year if LeBron makes a decision to go back to Cleveland for a third time, which is clearly something that could happen in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. You got to root for the guy, but Malik Thomas, of course, but I've been watching some of his highlights on Twitter. All right, so now to our Penn West University question of the night. Scan that QR code right-hand corner of your screen. Should Brandon Lau or Brian Reynolds have made the All-Star game? Looks like we are 25% think Lau, maybe Reynolds 41%, both 33%. I think it's a shame, though, Pony, before we go to break, that the Pirates didn't have anyone in the game. I feel like that just does a disservice to the fan base a little.
I know in 2010 when they were horrible, they lost 105 games. They had one representative, but nobody got into the game. So that's 16 years ago now.
Yeah.
I can't think of many other times where a Pirate just didn't play in the game, wasn't included. And that's what's happening tonight. Nobody, with Ashcraft and Skeens both down because they pitched over the weekend. And that does stink because if you're a Pirates fan, you want to see the recognition that your team has had the best offense in baseball, and there's no representation whatsoever with that.
I can't even think of who the All-Star rep was in 2010.
Evan Meek.
I was going to say Meek, but I was getting my years confused. Mike Williams made it one year because he had to, but Evan Meek, yeah, you're right. All right, good memory, Pony. We got to take a break. Back with your phone calls coming up next. Stay right there. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night representing the black and gold. You can see Skeens and Ashcraft's jersey. They're hanging in the clubhouse out in Philadelphia. They're not playing in the game, but they'll be ready for the second half. And, you know, I didn't mind Paul Skeens' answer to the question. You know, he's a team guy. I would love to see him here for a long time. Probably not going to happen. I know a lot of people worked up about that tweet that some reporter put out there saying future New York Yankee. But that is the future, probably, more than likely, and it's going to happen in 28 or 29.
No doubt. I agree 100%. It was very weird that the reporter, said it right to his face, and I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
What she was going for, I guess, was to get the reaction that it sparked, which is a whole conversation about the state of baseball and the economics of baseball, but it's a reality of things. Scooble's going to get huge money this offseason, and that's going to really set the price, I would say, for Skeens. And he's going to demand more, and he's going to get more than that. And he's going to be the highest paid pitcher of all time, and it's going to be for a lot of years. And that's something that the Pirates are not going to do. And frankly, that's something that a ton of teams would not do. And I'm not even sure if a salary cap would change that for the Pirates, just because it's still such a commitment to one guy and it's a guy that performs 1 out of every 5 days. So Skeens is generational. He hasn't showed it a lot this year, but let's not forget his first 2 years were unlike anything we'd ever seen before in Pittsburgh. Probably did not deserve to go to the All-Star game this year, though. I would have preferred to see Brandon Lau play in this game, especially because of the power numbers he's put up and the difference he's made for this Pirates lineup and team so far this year.
Do you think next year could change all that? I mean, you would have to have some kind of CBA that would grandfather some of these guys in with the contracts that they're making and the money that they're making. They're going to have to figure out some kind of middle ground here. You know, the owners, it seems like, you know, they're moving forward on a salary cap and salary floor. It needs to be closer together, but the players obviously don't want that. And you heard Skeens, he didn't even really want to answer that question. But there's got to be something. There's got to be some kind of parity. And I feel like for the first time that owners are on board with that.
Well, they were on board with it in the 90s, and then there was a strike, and they lost a World Series over it, and the owners eventually gave in, which usually it's the opposite. Usually the players give in, and the owners get more of what they want. But that hasn't been the case with baseball. We'll see if this time around it changes. I mean, I think it's absolutely possible that we lose a lot, and I mean not just like the first week or two of the season. I think we might lose a lot of next year. And that bums me out because I think the Pirates have the potential to be a really good team. They've got this nucleus now with young guys. It's another year of Skeens and Connor Griffin and maybe Seth Hernandez and all those guys. But I really think the lines are drawn in the sand, and these two sides really don't seem close whatsoever to a deal. A ton of time to figure it out, but I think both of these labor and owners are just so far apart that I have a hard time predicting what's going to happen, Richie. Are the owners really going to get the salary cap? Are the players going to get the owners to bend? It's a tough call. I mean, I don't have enough information yet to really make an informed decision on it, but the one thing I do feel like is pretty certain is that when we get to the spring of 2027, I'm not sure we're going to see baseball. I don't think we're going to see baseball.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't
think it's going to be
I don't think opening day is going to be in March.
I don't
think it will.
Let's go out to Dave in Springdale. How you doing, Dave?
Good. How are you doing, guys?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Hey, just to let you know, back in the 60s, we had 3 Pirates in the infield, and they were starters. And that year, we were way down in the standings. It's just completely opposite from this year. I don't know if you knew that. Of course, you weren't born yet.
Yeah, we weren't born that. Yeah, I mean, you look, for the All-Star game, I want to see some guys out there, and there should be some hitters. One hitter, if you have the best offense, you should have one guy out there in the lineup, you would think, or you'd want one guy playing in the game at least. Mm-hmm. So that's where I kind of fault this a little bit, because as a Pittsburgh fan, you're going to lose a lot of viewership, I would imagine. I know a lot of pure baseball fans are watching this game, maybe. But the fact that there's some Pirates fans might not watch it because who are you going to root for?
Richie, would you rather watch the MLB All-Star game, okay?
Yeah.
So you've got on one, I'm offering you got the MLB All-Star game, or you can watch Pitt play Bucknell in football in September, okay?
Yeah.
What would you rather watch?
I'd rather watch the All-Star game, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because I feel like you're saying like the first game, the second game of the year, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Look, that's a good comparison because you want to see Pitt play, but you know Pitt's going to blow out Bucknell. So I probably would rather watch the All-Star game, I guess. But if you were going to say like Pitt Robert Morris or Pitt Duquesne might be different just because of the local ties. But maybe like Pitt, I mean, if it's Pitt Rutgers, yeah, I'm going to watch that, of course, instead of the All-Star game. How about you?
Yeah, well, same thing, because those games matter. They mean something, even though I guess technically you could argue it's not like Pitt's going to win a national championship because they haven't for 50 years now, and they haven't really competed for one in a very long time. But still, I'd rather watch games of consequence, games that matter, games that are not exhibitions. I did see today that Phil Steele, the great college football mind out there, one of the great college football analysts in all of America, in his season preview, he is predicting Pitt to finish 5th in the ACC in college football. He's also predicting Penn State to finish 5th in the Big Ten.
Oh, interesting.
This year, Richie.
I want to see those
that?
two schools play. I'd want that more than anything. Let's go out to Kit. How you doing, Kit?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, thanks for calling.
Thanks for having me. I wanted to say that I do think that Brandon Lau should have been invited, and especially I wanted your opinion, especially with the absence of Shohei Ohtani. I think that I know they're different positions, but he was the top vote getter, and he didn't even come to Philly make an appearance. Roberts could have put him lead-off starter, strikeout or whatever. Give the fans the acknowledgement that.
Yeah, Kid, I agree with you. I mean, this is about the fans. You want to see these players you're voting for, and they should play. But now it's a money, it's a business thing. But I'm glad you brought up Lau because, Pony, I don't know about you, but I think the Pirates should seriously consider trading him.
Well, I think it would send huge shockwaves through that clubhouse. I think it would have a negative impact trading him in that respect on guys. I'm not opposed to it. Right now, this very second as we're having this conversation, I would not trade him. That would be my choice. But I would be open-minded and I would be okay with seeing what teams offered. Trading Brandon Lau for prospects and guys that can't help this team make the playoffs is not something I'm interested in doing unless I think that I can take either those prospects that I'm getting for Lau or other prospects and then package them for the pitching help I need. That would be the one scenario in which I would do it.
Maybe a 3-team deal or something like that. We got to take a break. Back in a couple minutes. All right, Pony, not a lot of time left here. We have about 45 seconds, so I want to have your I want to get your second half opinion. Big series coming up here. They're playing a lot of over 500 teams. Do they make the postseason?
They do, and that means I have to get a tattoo on my rear end, which was a stupid bet that I made before the season started, and I have to go through on my word with that. My pick at the British Open on Thursday, Shane Lowry, the pride of Ireland. He's going to come through and win one on European soil, Richie.
Not a bad pick. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going out on a limb and going with Rory McIlroy.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah, I know,
the
right?
favorite. Good
All
call,
right,
Rich.
Thanks a lot, Pony. We'll see you next week. Hopefully we see you guys on KDK News in a couple minutes.